All right, so here's our first question. And we got to choose out of all these options, we got to choose an option which has two vectors in it and two scalars. Well, let's give ourselves a quick recap on scalars and vectors. So let's talk about scalars first. A scalar simply is a quantity which only has magnitude and no direction. So no direction. All right. So that's the first thing that we learn. So it doesn't have any sense of direction. All right. On the other hand, if we talk about vectors, so when we talk about vectors, okay, they have magnitude. Okay, you got to give a number. Let's say 5 newtons of force. So that's magnitude. How much? But that's not enough. You got to tell me 5 newtons pointing this way. Okay, that's a complete description. So vectors are quantities which have number one, magnitude. You got to tell me how much, and you got to tell me in which direction. So they have both magnitude. Okay, that's a nice word there, magnitude, and direction. You got to have both of them. For scalars, we only have magnitude and no direction. It doesn't make sense. An example would be mass. And let's suppose this object here, all right, it has a mass of, let's say, half a kilogram. Okay, it doesn't make sense to say half kg to the west or half kg north. That doesn't make sense. So when we are talking about mass, it's just a number. Okay, half a kilogram, 200 grams. Okay, so mass clearly is a scalar. So let's write that down. That's the first example. So mass is a scalar. And as we discussed, force would be therefore a vector. Why? Both magnitude, both direction. Both magnitude and direction. So our first example for vectors would be force. Okay. So let's have a look at the options. The first option, A, it starts with distance. So what do you think distance is? Is it a scalar or is it a vector? Okay. I would say distance is a scalar. Why? Well, it's also a number. If I say, oh, I ran 10 kilometers today. Okay, we are concerned about how much you ran. And that's 10 kilometers. It doesn't matter if I went 10 kilometers this way or 10 kilometers this way. They're both the same. Okay, I put on 10 kilometers today. I'm training for my race. It doesn't matter. You just have to run 10 kilometers. Let's suppose it's a flat road. Going this way 10 kilometers is the same as this way. It doesn't matter. Okay, 10 kilometers, which is the distance traveled, is therefore a scalar. It doesn't have a direction associated with it. So distance goes to scalar. Okay, but here's a catch. Let's suppose I give you additional information. I tell you, okay, I ran 10 kilometers from the starting point. Let's suppose this is a starting point here, and I ran 10 kilometers towards east. So if I say 10 kilometers, which is the magnitude, towards east. So I give you two pieces of information, kilometers, which is the magnitude, and towards east. So that this is magnitude and direction. So now it's not distance, it becomes displacement, which is therefore a vector because it has 10 kilometers east, it has magnitude and direction. So here we have another example of a vector. So let's write that down. Another example would be a displacement. All right. So mass, distance, they go for scalars. Force and displacement, they are vectors. Okay, let's have a look at option B then. Well, force is a vector. What about velocity? What is velocity? Well, velocity tells us, let's talk about speed for a moment. So suppose I begin to run, I'm doing my workout, I'm preparing for my race. And let's, for example, say I run at 10 kilometers an hour. So I start from this point, this is my starting point, and I begin to run. I'm running and running, and I reach my final spot. In 1 hour, I covered 10 kilometers. That's a very, very bad pace. But let's say that's what I ran. Okay. I ran 10 kilometers an hour. Okay, and I just give you that number, 10 kilometers an hour. That is speed. Okay. It doesn't care about if I went east, if I went west, immaterial, irrespective of that. In 1 hour, I'm going to run 10 kilometers. If I go towards west and you give me 1 hour, I'm going to run the same 10 kilometers. So speed, therefore, is a scalar. So let's write that down. Speed is a scalar. It just tells me if you're talking about kilometers per hour, in 1 hour, how much distance I'm going to cover. An exact definition for speed would be the distance traveled over the time taken. Okay. But what if I tell you, okay, I ran 10 kilometers towards east. Now there again, we have two pieces of information. 10 kilometers an hour. In 1 hour, I ran. So that's magnitude. That tells me how fast I'm going. In 1 hour, I'm covering 10 kilometers. Now that's magnitude here. But I am also telling you I ran 10 kilometers in 1 hour towards east. Now that's additional piece of information. That's direction. So that's both. It has both magnitude and direction. If I say, if I say I ran 10 kilometers an hour, which is speed, east. Okay, both magnitude and direction. Now it becomes a velocity. So here we have another example of a vector would therefore be a velocity. Okay, so with this piece of information that we have, let's see if we can solve the first question. So let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so if you look at the second option, force is a vector, velocity is a vector. So we got two vectors there. On the other hand, distance here is a scalar and mass is a scalar as well. So two scalars and two vectors. So that's the correct option. So here we have it. Question number 1. B part is the correct option. All right. In the next video, we'll take the second question, learn a bit of theory about it, and then try and attempt it. I'll see you in the next class. Bye.